Hey, what's up, everybody? This is indeed the E-Man, chilling like a villain, singing like Bob Dylan, keep it on the low with some double stuff. Oreos. And right now, let me tell you, man, everybody who knows me knows that I love movies. Movies are my bread and butter. Movies are my jam. And this gentleman that I'm about to talk to right now happens to be one of the best movie reviewers on YouTube at the moment. And I'm going to tell you something, man. He is crazy knowledgeable about movies and the things that I love, and we both share that passion. So I want to introduce the professional couch potato, the Phantom of Flannel. Oh yeah, Mr. Chris Joyce, host of Movies and Munchies and the best thing we have watched this week. How are you doing today?
I am great, and I am totally stealing the Phantom of Flannel. That is spectacular. Thank,
I appreciate that.
oh man. Oh, that's good. Oh no, I'm good though. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me on.
Absolutely. You know, look, I have a flannel shirt just like that one, and I
Nice.
cannot find it. So this is the best that I can do right here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I really appreciate you coming on the show. This is fantastic, man. Like with all of my interviews, I always well, I like to start with a moment of silence. Of course, recently we lost David Crosby of Crosby, Stills and Nash, and that's the most recent person. So I wanted to give a moment of silence for him at the right now. I appreciate that. Now with David Crosby, I'm not familiar with a lot of his music, but he sung background for Hootie and the Blowfish, Hold My Hand. He had some background vocals in it, and I can clearly hear him. What's some of the music that you remember of his?
Uh, Gosh, well, I see. I'm not a huge Crosby, Stills and Nash fan either, so I don't know. I couldn't even name a song off the top. Now, I will recognize a lot of the songs,
Okay,
but
yeah.
to name them, yeah, I don't know.
Well, but he, from what I understand, he was a great musician. I just wanted to give that
Mhm.
moment of silence for him. So, you know, every hero has an origin story, you know, and you know, I wanted to know, what's your origin story? What was your childhood like?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, let's see. I grew up in a pretty strict religious home.
Mm.
I was very good at school, at academics, but then also pressured to do even better, which then affected me later in life where I just didn't want to do as much academics. Um, Still, though, let's see. I don't know. I have a younger brother. Parents that were together until one of them died, and
My
which
condolences.
thank you. Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, decades ago, so it's not a big deal. Um, and uh, you know, um, I played sports a little bit growing up. I am not a sports guy now at all, other than maybe watching X Games or something like that, because
Right.
I like motorcycles and stuff. I Because it was kind of a strict house, we didn't watch a lot of television or movies, or at least it was very tempered in what I could watch. Um, we as I got a little older into like late elementary school into junior high and then even into high school, well, high school that changed anyway, but like middle school and stuff, I would sneak movies when I go over to friend's house or anything like that. And so that definitely affected my my viewing habits because it was very narrow at
Yeah.
first, and so it was very sheltered. And then once late junior high into high school, I started really expanding, getting into indie movies, and just kind of stretching my lone legs and trying to figure out what I liked as far as entertainment. It's funny though, like I say that my house was um, strict. So we would watch, I mean, like the typical things that we would watch on TV were like TGIF, that stuff,
Yes.
Alf. But then I full on watched Twin Peaks, which made no sense. Like now thinking about that the theme of that show is so
Right.
wild and twisted and completely opposite from what was normally. And I think that was just because my parents were interested in it, so I got to tag along with that.
Nice.
Um, Yeah, but now, I mean, I work a full-time job. I am married, been married for 26 years. We have
Congratulations, it's
two,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we have two adult sons, which is awesome. One of them is married. And so I started YouTube five-ish years ago,
Oh wow.
just because I wanted to. I've loved movies for a really long time, and my wife and I we discuss things back and forth. We ruined the way we watch movies a long time ago because we just started diving into all of the nuances and the hidden messages and what the director or what the story was trying to say, and love it. I mean, I love that because nothing is done on accident within a movie because they're just too expensive, and the story has a purpose. Hopefully, at least there's an intention there. Um, and I wanted to do something else, and I wanted to hopefully not have to work, the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted something that could become maybe a financial feasible type of thing, and I could retire from regular work and then just sit around and watch movies and talk about them, and maybe that would allow me to uh support what support the family. That is not even close to being a reality yet, but that's okay. I still have fun.
And that's all. That's all that matters. I've asked this question before to actors before, and I think it's a very important question because um I remember my real first true movie going experience. I mean, I was pretty much like you were. I was pretty sheltered. Going to movies was a real luxury. We didn't do
Mhm.
it often. I remember watching Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The only reason I watched that movie is because of the word of mouth of it. And I knew Harrison Ford was Han Solo. So I was a huge Star Wars fan. And when I tell you at 8 years old, that movie, and I never seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, that movie blew my mind. I felt guilty because it's like, should I be watching this? But like the moment where Mola Ram takes his hand and goes inside of the guy's chest, I was like, oh, this is terrifying. But it was great. I mean, it's to this day. I know Spielberg doesn't love that movie, but to this day, it's my favorite Indiana Jones film.
Mhm.
Grown to love Last Crusade because at first I didn't like it as a kid, but I love it now. So I ask you, what movie totally knocked your socks off to where you're like, oh my gosh, this is great.
Oh wow. It is funny that the movie that I remember going to or seeing first. Now, it may not actually be that way. It may be out of order chronologically, but the one that I think impacted me was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh wow,
Like,
okay.
yeah, no, seriously, like it was we were on a family vacation, and my grandparents and my parents and I think maybe even my cousins were there and stuff, and we just went to the movies and saw that, and I remember so vividly so much of that. I mean, there's the adventure of trying to
Yeah,
find something and digging and everything, but there's so many just moments that stick in my mind where, I mean, he puts the staff in and the light shines through, and it slowly illuminates. Um,
yeah,
the fight that Harrison Ford has with that giant Nazi who then gets beat up by the propeller. Like, it's like, oh, that was,
yeah.
they don't show it, but they show the aftermath, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Right,
And then the faces melting. I mean, come on, the
right.
whole thing. It was, yeah, that was like I loved it. And while I think for me, Last Crusade is probably my favorite out of them so far.
Mm.
Um, I could watch all three at any time. I'm not a fan of Crystal Skull at all.
No, we don't
Um,
mention that.
yeah, yeah, that's not even
It's a
canon. We're just gonna set that over there.
right.
Um, but yeah, I trying to think if there's any other movies that really. I mean, I remember seeing E.T. in the
Oh
theater
yeah.
also, and that having a good time. And we used to have these theaters near us that were they were domes, and
Okay.
so they held probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 people. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
they were monstrous, and the screens, not all of the screens were huge. Some of the domes were split up into like three or four different areas, but there were one or two that the dome was the theater. And so you had this monster sized screen. That's where I saw Saving Private Ryan, which was,
Oh wow.
you know, but I saw ET there. And I remember just, it's the whole adventure thing again as a kid.
Yeah.
Just like Goonies is, or anything like that, where it taps into your imagination of what if,
Yes.
and I could begin to put myself into that fantasy there and just
Yeah.
go along with the characters. And I think that's what really um, connected me to the stories.
Right. Absolutely, man. Like and when you mentioned Goonies, and it's so gratifying. Like I didn't get a chance to watch the Golden Globes, but I stood up all night watching all of the acceptance speeches. And so, Ki Hu Kwan, who played Short Round, won, for
Yes.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was a fantastic movie.
Yes,
Um,
totally.
I listened to his acceptance speech over and over again because his story is so inspirational. Now, I knew that was the actor from Indiana Jones that was in that movie, but it didn't really come full circle until he was on that stage and accepting that award. And like, wow, he's been dormant for like 25 years and he's won this award for this movie. Well deserved, by the way, because
Hmm.
I watched that movie twice in the movie theater, and I'm telling you, like,
So good.
movie was fantastic. So it's really gratifying to see him, have having his resurgence in his career now. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um and like I said, with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom as a kid, I was kind of seeing things through his eyes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when he was scared, I was scared, you know what I mean? So yeah, so shout out to Key. If he ever listens or watch this, I just, hey, if you want to be on the show, let me know.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
Absolutely,
What a score
absolutely.
that'd be.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. Even Corey Feldman's having a resurgence too. He was recently on the Drew Barrymore show, and I'm so happy to see, he's had a hard time,
Yeah.
and is now he's seemed to having this resurgence with seems like Jordan Peele is supporting him
Oh,
and
cool.
his stuff. Yeah. So yeah, so origin story again. What inspired you to do movies and munchies? I love your intro. It's very colorful. I love it. So where did that all how did that all come about?
Thanks. Well, I used to work in radio, and so I would help one of our DJs do these movie reviews on video, and I would edit them for him and everything else. And I kick myself now because I should have gotten in front of the camera after he did his, and then do my own, and then start my YouTube channel much earlier.
Yes.
But I would just, because I love movies so much and I love talking, I thought, you know what, this might be fun at one point. And I had originally thought I was going to do short attention span movie reviews where I was going to
Mhm.
give myself 60 seconds. And if I was in the middle of a sentence, the video would stop. It wouldn't matter. I would have to just try and get out as much as I could in 60 seconds. I love that idea still, but YouTube, to become monetized and everything, they changed the rules, and so you had to have like 4,000 watch hours in a month or something like
Right.
that. I don't remember what, in a period of time. And the thought, before I even, as I was researching hopping on YouTube and doing this, it was like, okay, so if I do 1 minute videos, that's going to take forever for me to try and get the amount of watch hours that I need to even just become monetized, let alone have it make any type of profit or anything else. So I thought, well, okay, so let me just brainstorm. And so I just wrote down all of these types of names for the channel.
Yeah.
And I think back also to, I had a conversation at one point where I had asked somebody that I was interviewing for a job, what if money was no object, what would their ideal job be? Because it gives you some insight into what they hold as valuable or what they like or
Yes.
anything else. Well, so I answered the question for myself, and my answer was a snack food taste testing movie reviewer. And so that had also stuck with me. And I so as I'm going through all the names that I wrote down of what I wanted to do, I landed on Movies and Munchies. And when I first started out, I set up a camera in my kitchen and I made some food, and that is not sustainable. That is so difficult to do. I mean, my wife was like, "You got to clear the lights out of here. We can't even cook dinner. What's going
Yeah,
on?"
yeah.
It just, and it took forever to do for such a short little video.
Yeah.
And so I morphed that. You know what I mean? I figured, okay, now I'll just, if I come across snack foods that I find interesting. Whether or not they're good, that remains to be seen. But if I find them interesting or they're new to me or something else, then I try and bring light to them. I have not been sponsored by anybody. I have been given some food at one point,
Oh,
but I gave an
nice.
honest review for that. Yeah, that was really nice. I got jerky out of it, and then as I was talking about it, I had mentioned like, oh yeah, I like these, but I really like the spicier better. And like a week later, I got a pack of spicy ones in the mail, and I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Thank you.
Nice. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, it was great. So it really comes down to, I mean, movies and munchies is because I love movies, and I don't know anybody that doesn't eat some sort of snack at some point while they're watching content, right? You go to the
Absolutely, yeah.
movie theater and you have all your snacks, and it costs you an arm and a leg. You're sitting on the couch and you're raiding the refrigerator as you do it. Any of that. And so if I can provide just a little bit of entertainment within there and maybe something that intrigues you at some point to buy, awesome. I think most people have said they like it when I have things that I don't enjoy or that make me gag, because that makes them laugh, and I'm like, oh well, that's good. I'm glad it made you laugh. It almost made me throw up. So, but
Nice.
it's fun.
I listen to podcasts a lot, and one of my favorite podcasts is Life is Short, with Justin Long, the actor,
Hmm.
and he had Leonard Moulton on there,
Oh wow.
the reviewer, and I totally forgot, like, Leonard Moulton used to be on Entertainment Tonight, and he had these really short segments, and what I liked about Leonard Moulton, which is something that they acknowledged in the interview, was he was never mean spirited. You know what I
Mm.
mean? He always gave his honest review, but he was never mean spirited, and that it kind of reminds me of you, because like I've watched a lot of your reviews, and you just tell your truth. And I really can appreciate that, man. I really do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to be mean. I mean, that doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean? And even to trash on a movie, like I
Yeah,
feel bad about that. I always try and find something that, even if the movie is poo. I mean, and I'll tell you the movie's poo, but if there's something in there that is standout, or that even if the movie just had potential, like if the story, like, oh my gosh, the idea was really good, it just was
yeah.
terrible in the execution. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because I don't want to. I mean, a lot of people put their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and
Yes, yes.
it takes effort and it takes courage to even do that, to just create this thing and then to put it out in the world for somebody else to see. And
Yes.
so you have to acknowledge that, okay, hey, they tried, they swung for the fences, they may have missed, and it may have just been terrible, but a lot of people start out and their stuff at the beginning is horrendous, and
Hmm.
then they find their groove and they get better and they improve, and then all of a sudden their stuff is decent. I mean, good lord, if I look back at my early videos, oh, oh wow, it was a really loud car drives by, but cringeworthy. I mean, terrible, terrible, terrible. The reviews they're not even reviews. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's stupid. And so you try and maintain, I try and maintain that mindset, at least, of like, this is tough sometimes,
Yeah,
and you gotta, okay, go for it. And I mean, who does it help if I'm mean to somebody? That doesn't help anybody ever. And so you don't
absolutely.
want
Yeah.
that. You want to just be happy, let people, have some fun, because at the end of the day, also, I'm not saving any lives doing this. I might be saving you a little bit of money, but I'm not saving any type of lives. What I do is unimportant in the grand scheme of life. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, let's just have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, man, because like it actually it leads to a question I had later, but I'm gonna ask it now. I think as movie lovers and movie goers, we should be a little more empathetic towards like the creators of movies, even if we don't like it. Perfect example for me, because I did a roundtable on Wakanda Forever, right?
Hmm.
And I loved it. I liked the movie a lot. I understood what they were trying to accomplish. When I did the roundtable, one of my friends was like, "Well, it's not better than the first one," but I'm like, "It's really not supposed to be better, considering the fact that they lost their star. Is really just supposed to push the narrative forward and pay tribute to the man." That's what I got from the movie. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I think as a viewer and a fan, especially of the MCU and movies, I'm like, we should be a little more empathetic. Especially there's too much information now to not know what's going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So I think we should be more empathetic. Do you agree or not?
I totally do. I think a lot of the time we let our passions get the best of us, and it overtakes our sensibilities a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you and I can totally disagree on a movie or some content or an idea, but that does not mean that we have to be mean to each other,
Absolutely, yeah.
disrespectful. I mean, we can walk away as friends and not agree, and that be totally okay. I mean,
Yeah.
good grief. I'm married to my wife for 26 years, with her longer than that. Do you think we agree on everything?
No.
Heck no. So, but we're still best of friends. I still love her. She still loves me. That I use that as an example because it's okay if we have disagreements and we don't see content in the same way because we all view it from a different perspective, right? You
Hmm.
have your life experiences, I have my life experiences, and those all color everything that we see in the content that comes at us and within that story. So we interpret it differently, it hits us in different ways. Heck, I could even watch the same movie four different times over a decade and have it hit me differently each time and come away with a different
Yes.
opinion because my life circumstance at that, my wisdom, my experiences, all of this have changed over the course of time. And I
Right.
think anytime that we lock ourselves down and we're so adamant that something is that we're right about the opinion without ever giving just the idea that, well, maybe there are other thoughts that could come into this and they're equally as valid,
Hmm.
that and it's okay if you don't like it or if you do like it, and it's okay if I like it or don't like it.
Yeah.
That doesn't, yeah, so yes, I do. That was a lot of words to say. Yes, I agree with you.
I appreciate that. No, it's like when you're talking about, oh gosh, when you were saying like how a movie can hit you at different points in time. Like I remember my friend first showed me Napoleon Dynamite, and I'm like, and I watched, I'm like, what? I don't get it. And like years later, I watched it. I was like, this is great. It's great. You know what I mean? I own it now. There's not too many movies that I own because I feel like in order for me to own it, I have to really be obsessed with it and love it. And
Mhm.
so, like, yeah. Um, Gosh, that was a great answer, man. I want to know, since you're a critic, who are some of your favorite critics? So you're one of my favorite critics. I love Jeremy Johns. I think he's fantastic. I love Chris Stuckman. And of course, like back in the day, rest in peace to Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel. I would love to see them like disagree on something and argue back and forth. It was so great.
So good.
Um, so who are some of your favorites? And of course, Leonard Maltin. It was one of my favorites too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I watch Chris Stuckman, I watch Jeremy Johns. I've made some friends on YouTube just over the course of doing this. So like my buddy Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday, he lives over in the UK, and
Oh
with that
yeah,
we do a weekly podcast together. He actually just came out this just a couple months ago and visited me here in the
nice.
US, which was fun. Yeah, it was our first time meeting each other, and we hung out for a week and did some stupid stuff, and so that was fun. But like I watch Austin Burke, Tyler Calvert, Tate Takes. Oh my gosh, Chris Tate is so awesome. He is just he's. I love his insight into movies, um, and the way he does certain things. I'm hoping that this year we're actually going to do a collaboration at some point because I can't wait to just talk with him like we're talking now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, gosh, there's Elliot with Movie Files. There's Nick with Movie Emporium. Tyler Calvert, Jared Buck and J Buck. I'm just going to call him that because I can't pronounce his last name. Um, there's, I mean, good grief. There are so many. Sully Streams. I think his name is Chris with Movies Please. I mean, there's everybody has their different take, and
Yes.
that's what I love watching these. So after I do my review in the weeks after that, I'll check out what other people had to say just to see like, oh, what did they pick up? What did we agree on? What did we disagree on?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of the times, I love hearing when somebody else picks up a nuance that I totally missed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that opened up the movie so much more in a different way for me. I love it. Or, oh, no, I don't agree with you at all. That's okay. You can have fun enjoying that. I think the movie sucks, but hey, good.
Right.
What, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, And that's a great part. I think, having movie discussions like that are just so much fun because you can have so many varied responses and varied just reactions to what you see.
So I
Absolutely.
wanted to know, what is your inspiration for your intro? Because I love your intro. It's really colorful. Yes.
Um, so so at the beginning I had it, which it was a little longer. I mean, okay, let me back up, give you insight into my head. Um, get to the content as fast as possible. That's what I
Mhm.
try and do. Because people took the time to click on my face for whatever reason, something intrigued them to do that. And so I want to get them into the review as fast as I can so that it makes sense. I
Mhm.
don't, I've watched some, um, and they talk about, welcome back to my channel, and they give you a life update before they actually get into the content on why I clicked into the video. And
Yeah.
for me, I don't like that. If you dig that, awesome, that's totally good. I'm not trashing on you for liking that. That's whatever. There's so much content on YouTube that you do you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Definitely.
find whatever floats your boat, and that's totally great. For me though, I want to do that. And so I came from a background in radio where time is of the essence. And
Yes.
you have to, I mean, even my degree is in communications and mass media communications. And so we condense things. We try and say them as succinctly as possible, even though a lot of the time I'm not as succinct as I would like to be. But so I had an intro that had my name, that had movies and munchies on there and stuff. And it was fun and it was great. And I used it for like 3.5, almost 4 years, I think. And then I just wanted to change. And so I thought, what am I going to do? And so now I have like, it's a 3-second intro or something like that. And it doesn't say my name. All it really is for me to use a colorful transition.
Hmm.
I love color. I love, like all colors. I am under the belief that any color will go with any other color. Like you can rock whatever outfit you want to rock. If you want to work with polka dots up top and plaid down below, outstanding, go for it, because shapes are all lines. Sometimes they're curved lines, like a circle will become a curved line, and when it attaches to itself, it's a circle, but it starts out as a straight line, and so they can
Yeah.
crisscross and they can do so any of that, and then all the colors, they work together. There's color theory, and you can argue with me later about about what you think and how certain colors shouldn't go with other ones. I don't care. I believe if you like it and if you enjoy whatever you're wearing, rock and roll, own it. Just
Absolutely.
believe that you look good wearing it and wear it. So I wanted something colorful. That's again a very long answer that comes down to a very short. I just wanted something quick, short, colorful, and so I just made it in After Effects. Found some royalty-free, attribution-free music on YouTube's sound library.
Okay.
Cut that. Like I only used a portion of that and tried to match it up to the feel that I wanted to. It also
Yeah.
has a little bit of that. Do you remember? Oh gosh, what is it? Is it like the after school? Oh wait, no, you're probably too young. But there was like
Oh
an
no, I
after
remember
school
After
special,
School Special.
something
Yeah, I
like that,
remember
where
that.
it would, or the ABC or the CBS special presentation where things would turn and it would rotate and it was kind of geometric and everything, and it would have
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
noise. I think that's kind of what was playing in the back of my head while I was making that. Like not that I was trying to recreate that, but just that, and also I was lazy because I already had a transition that used some of those sliding colors, and so
Right.
I was just like, oh well, let me just add to that, and then there we go. And so I did, and there's my intro. And so now though, but that allows me to then I put my name in as a lower third now,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't really the only time I ever say my name is at the very end, because I figure you want more of the actual, sorry, my phone was ringing,
That's okay.
the you want the actual information, not who I am and all of my background, because that's unimportant really when it comes down to it. You clicked on it not to find out about me, but to find out the thoughts on whether or not you should see something. And then I like to put a movie quote in or a TV quote, something like that, just if it makes me chuckle. And some people have fun trying to guess what it is, what it's from. Usually they have zero context for the piece that I'm reviewing. It's just something that I thought was funny. So, yeah.
Nice. So, I gotta say, man, I gotta give you your props, man, because you constantly put out content, and it amazes me how fast you're able to put it out. Do you find it a little overwhelming because there's so much stuff now? There's, you got your like I really thought about it the other day. I was like, Wow, because I watch most of my stuff on my phone, and I'm like, wow. If I have Netflix and I have Disney Plus, and sometimes I have Hulu, depending on what they show. Um, but even with those three, I have a Blockbuster Video in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So, do you ever find yourself being a little overwhelmed? Do you think there's such a thing as too much content, or no?
Dude. Yes. Okay. So let me if I can remember all of the streaming platforms that I subscribe to and I pay for. So I have Netflix,
Yes,
Amazon Prime, which that's
me,
I mean we buy Prime so for the free shipping, but comes with
me
the
too.
um I have Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max, Showtime, Stars, Paramount Plus,
Woo.
AMC Plus. I think that's it. So that's
So,
ridiculous, right? I mean, that's stupid right there.
no, no,
Um,
you talking about the AMC A list?
no, no, no. AMC Plus. It's a streaming channel, so it encompasses AMC, Shutter, Sundance Now, and IFC films. So there's like 4 or 5 channels within that. So it's another
Wow.
streaming platform. Yeah, but like, okay, so I keep a calendar of things that I want to watch and I want to try and review. I
Hmm.
never get to all of them. But like today alone, I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven different pieces of content, and 6 of those came out on Netflix today. Um,
Wow.
I had 8 yesterday. No, 7 yesterday also that I didn't get to all of them. So yes, there is an overabundance of content coming at us. Which I think is outstanding from a consumer standpoint because
Oh,
all the choices, right? I get to
right.
see what I like, what speaks to me, and I don't have to wait for like, oh gosh, there's only one show out this week, and I don't really resonate with that genre. So, okay, what am I going to do? Um, so I like that. I do. I have to temper what I do with burnout. At the
Yeah.
end of last year, leading in from like probably mid October through December, I was feeling burnout,
Mm.
and I cut down on what I was doing, just because I needed that mental break. I found myself like, gosh, I don't know if I'm saying anything different, when I watch something, and so I would just watch some things and not review them, and um, that was kind of nice that I could then choose to just be like, no, I'm not going to do this because still, this is more of a hobby than it is a job, which I never want it to become a job. I just want it to become something very, very fun that pays me.
Right.
But, but, I also don't want to hate it. I don't want to look at this like, oh gosh, okay, I have to watch this now. I mean, there are some movies that I start or whatever, and I'm like, oh gosh, what have I done to myself? And my wife is looking over at me like, dude, can we turn this off? And I'm like, no, I'm halfway through. I got to. I'm gonna. Yeah, no, it's terrible, but I need to tell people it's terrible. Something like that. But yes, there burnout is very real. There is. I don't think there's too much content. I think it just provides us a great opportunity to find the stuff that we like that resonates with us, and then go after that. For me, Netflix is, and I know that there's issues with Netflix. I am not happy with the amount of stuff that they cancel, especially after only one season where we don't get full
Mm.
arcs. Um, but their buying power worldwide is outstanding. So they snatch up series and slap their name on it. Um, and Yes, because I have found Turkish shows and Brazilian shows and South Korean shows that I never would have experienced, that I never
Yeah.
even would have known that existed. And so it's made the world much smaller for me, which I love because now I get to experience all kinds of different cultures in their native tongue and looking at the way they view film and cinema and storytelling. And that's a lot of fun. So even though there's a ton of crap coming at us, and sometimes
Yeah.
it is too much, I would rather have too much and be able to wade through that to pick and choose what I want than to
Right.
have only one or two options and neither of those speak to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when Moon Knight came out, and I was 3 episodes in, and I just kind of lost interest. And
Mhm.
then I went on to something else. I was like, oh crap, I didn't finish it. Oh well. You know, So
Totally.
yeah, Regal Cinemas recently filed for bankruptcy. And since COVID, movie theaters have been struggling a whole lot. I used to work at a movie theater, matter of fact, and this is like in 2017, but I love movies. How important do you believe movie theaters are to the movie going experience as a whole? And do you think there can be a solution? I remember director Ava DuVernay, she was on this podcast called The Breakfast Club. And this is like 2 years ago, and she said, and it kind of broke my heart. She said, like, she feels like movie theaters, like, within the next few years, are going to pretty much be non-existent. That hurts my heart to see, because like movie theaters to me are to really watch a movie, to get the real movie going experience. Like when I watched Endgame for the ninth time, it's beautiful, and I think it's very necessary. So what do you think?
I agree. I love going to the theater. I love seeing on the big screen, with the sound that I cannot reproduce at my house. I don't have the room to make that large of a screen. So I really enjoy that. I think what needs to happen though is that theaters, in one aspect, they need to really crack down on their audiences, because what I've noticed, outside of screenings that I go to, when I see things just when they open, or after a week or something that they're out, the audiences ruin it for me. Like, I would much rather watch this at my home on a smaller screen than deal with the idiot on his phone and the couple over there who can't shut up, and that type of thing. That people forget their manners. They just forget that they're in a public space where we're all here. We paid money to see
Yeah.
something, and I don't want distractions. I turn off your phone or go outside. And if you need to be on your phone, I don't care if you're bored, go outside. But yeah, I can see how theaters could start to become a way of the past. I mean, I think, seeing some movies that we've had that have been large spectacle, like Maverick, Top Gun Maverick,
Oh yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Some of these that are just, they're like, whoa, crazy, crazy to watch. I think even Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania, that's coming up,
Yes.
that's going to be a spectacle to see, just because it's so much CGI and it's huge.
And even Avatar.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes, Avatar. Like, seeing that needs to be seen on the big screen. I advocate for seeing that one in 3D. I don't normally say that you need to see a movie in 3D, but that one, absolutely, I loved it in
And I
3D.
hate that I missed that, because I watched the first one in 3D, and I was
Uh
like,
huh.
I don't need it. And I hate that I missed that opportunity. But yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. You're totally good. So yeah, I think it's sad that the theaters might be closing, and it's probably a huge combination. COVID didn't help anything, absolutely.
No.
um but I think then people got used to seeing things at home, and studios still doing some of these things where they're just going to put it on a streaming platform, or they put it on streaming and in the theater at the same time.
Bad
I
idea.
don't I don't understand that at all. That makes no sense to me,
No.
because even if I want to see the movie and I can see it at home without having to go out, without having to pay extra, anything like that, without having to deal with people that can't be quiet, I would much rather sit at home and watch it that way, unless I absolutely just can't get the same experience, or a better experience. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that totally answered the question, but
It did. And, I feel like what you said. I like when you go into when you said streaming and at the same time
mhm.
putting out in theaters, like what they did with Black Widow. I was like, why? That was dumb. I feel like, as a movie lover and a moviegoer, I can't take the movie seriously until it's put out in theaters first, and at least put it out there for at least a few months, and then put it on streaming. Kind of like, like back in the day, with Blockbuster Video. If something went straight to video, I'm not going to take it seriously. But if it goes to theaters first, then I could take it. Like, even with Glass Onion that came out, I think that was in theaters for like a few weeks,
Mhm.
and it actually helped the box office too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um, and by the way, that was a good movie too. I didn't think
it
it was
was. It was
great,
fun.
but it was good. Um, but yeah, I totally agree, man. I mean, I feel like that's necessary. So what three movies do you think? Because you review a lot of movies, but what are some movies that you think people it can be from the past or something from most recent three movies you think people have totally slept on. I just want to mention one. There's this movie called Inner Space, starring Dennis Quaid and Martin Short. And I would tell
Dude,
everybody until the cows come home. I'm like, that movie was fantastic. All of its practical special effects, I could talk about that movie all day. Even the performance by Robert Picardo, who was in I think he was on Star Trek Voyager. He was in it as the cowboy, and it's a crazy weird movie, but it's fantastic. Like I said, the special effects are out of this world. So yes.
that that's awesome. I haven't seen that for days and days. Oh my gosh. Um, oh gosh, let's see. So a movie that actually just came out recently, and it's not so much that people have been sleeping on it. I just don't think they've had as much access to it as maybe they should have. But it's
Mm,
the movie's called Brian and Charles, and I saw
okay.
it at Sundance last year. It's making its way through some of the awards right now, some of the more indie awards and stuff like that. But it is a beautiful, hilarious, sweet film that just it's pure, I think, and that's what it put a smile on my face and just made me fall in love um with the story. I walked out feeling better, so that was
Yeah.
great. um Another movie that comes to mind is Safety Not Guaranteed, which I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen that. It's Aubrey Plaza, Jake Johnson, Mark Duplass, and it it's a I don't even know how to describe the genre, because it's like a romantic drama sort of, with a little bit of sci-fi mixed in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's very quirky, and I'm not sure it should work, and yet it totally does. Like when you get to the end, I mean the performances are great because they just kind of suck you in, because there's like the trashy person. Jake Johnson just plays this Arrested Development guy who just he can't move on, and he's a man child. um and then you have Mark Duplass, who might be nuts, but he's endearing. And so you
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of just you root for him, even though he's really more and more you hear him, you're like, dude, I'm not sure you're okay, but whatever, you're happy, so we'll just go with that. But yeah, when you get to the end of the movie, you're like, oh, cool. So that was a good surprise.
I love
um
Aubrey Plaza.
yeah, she's great in this one too, because she's not being the her regular snarky self the whole time.
Right.
I mean, which is fine, and I like that. I like that character that she does, but this one, I mean, she has some of that, but also then she has some just like down to earth moments too. So
Have you
that's
seen
really
Emily
good.
the Criminal?
I have not. Oh yeah, no, I have seen that. Yeah, I saw that at Sundance last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good. Good. That's a good
yep,
film too.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Um, the last one, I don't know if people slept on it or not, but I think because it's old enough that more people should see it. It's from 1974, and it's called What's Up, Doc? And it's
Hmm.
Ryan O'Neal and Barbara Streisand, Madeline Kahn, not Marilyn Kahn, Madeline Kahn. Um, this movie is downright hilarious. The amount of quick one-liners that are involved in it. It's a love story that takes place in San Francisco, and it truly is a comedy. I mean, it's a romantic comedy, and it is slapstick, and it is silly. And if you've never seen it, it's phenomenal. I mean, it is one of my all-time favorite comedy movies.
It's I've never seen it, but I remember walking through Blockbuster and seeing the cover art of it, and that's that's what I miss about Blockbuster, having to walk through and make a decision
Yeah,
based on the cover art.
yeah.
Um, okay, so what real quick, what are three movies that are a part of your movie foundation? I remember like back in the day, like they had the food pyramid. I kind of think about that when it comes to my movies. So at the bottom of my foundation is Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and Return of the Jedi, and that's kind of holding it steady. So what are your three movies?
Oh gosh. Um, well, that's a tough question there. Goonies,
Yes.
would be in there.
The best audio comment DVD commentary ever. I don't know if you have it on DVD or not. It's fantastic.
I do. But I've never. Oh, I'll have to check that out then. That's cool. That's awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah, actually, like all of the cast, they're watching it with you. You can
Oh,
see them.
nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's outstanding. Oh, cool.
Yes.
Um, After this, I'm going to kick myself because more movies are going to pop into my head that are like, oh, dude, I should have said this or whatever. The Untouchables.
Okay.
Because it has Sean Connery and it's written by David Mamet, who is my favorite playwright. Oh gosh. Well, probably. This is cheating, I'm sure, but The Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, the
Okay.
whole Lord of the Rings, because that is one movie, and it has to be the extended edition because that is the only edition that should ever be shown, because it is epic in scale and on cue. Even just seeing little snippets can make me cry at different points, and I love it.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow, beautiful, man. You have to say hello to my best friend Juan because he is a Lord of the Rings fanatic.
Oh,
so
nice.
So yeah, so I can't really get into those movies, but yeah, Lord of the Rings, that's awesome. All right, what's your favorite cereal?
Like breakfast cereal or dinner
Yes.
cereal or
Breakfast.
I love this question. Thank you. Crap. That's hard.
Now think back, like it doesn't even have to exist anymore. But like even as a kid, like I love there's a cereal called Smurf Berry Crunch back in the day. I thought it was great.
That's awesome. Okay. So they used to do. So Frosted Mini Wheats.
Yes.
Frosted Mini Wheats. They used to be bigger though, like the shredded wheat ones. Like you used to get the giant log type, but they were frosted. I loved that because I could just chop it up and you eat it or you shove as much as you can in your mouth there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I don't know if that's true, but I'll go with that.
Nice. Honorable mention. I do got to mention. There's two more cereals I love. Basic 4, which is kind of hard to find.
Okay.
It's like flakes and it has yogurt covered raisins and all and dried strawberries. It's great. And then there's another one made by Quaker called Quaker O's. It's like a honey graham cereal. It's shaped like Cheerios. It's really
I know
crunchy.
That one.
Yeah, it is you don't even need milk. Okay, so all right, so I got some 80s and 90s trivia for you.
Oh,
are you ready?
Okay, don't judge me if I get these wrong, okay?
Oh, you're I'm pretty sure you'll get them. Even some of them have multiple choice. Okay. So the term jumping the shark, which means when a TV sitcom does something so far-fetched for ratings, was originated from what TV show?
Happy Days.
I didn't even have to do multiple choice. Yes, Happy Days. It's crazy. That's great. All right. In the film, John Travolta plays a character called Vincent Vega. His brother, Vic Vega, was in another Tarantino film. What's the Tarantino film?
Gosh, I don't know. What's the no, I'm gonna go the name has Inglorious Bastards. That's the name that was trying to escape from my mind.
No. It's a movie called Reservoir Dogs.
That was one of the other ones that was in my head rattling around, but okay, cool.
Yeah. Because it's Big Vega was played by Michael Manson, who played Mr. Blonde. And so but his character's name is Vic Vega.
Nice.
All right. So this is a TV one.
Okay.
The Jeffersons was a spinoff of what show?
All in the Family.
Yes, right on.
Which I think the Jeffersons is a much better show than All in the Family. Yeah.
But I gotta say though, I it's amazing how like you can make a show like All in the Family back then, but you definitely can't do it now.
No, gosh, no.
No, absolutely not. All right, final question.
Okay.
Harrison Ford, of course, played Indiana Jones, but what TV actor was originally offered the role at first?
Huh. No, I don't.
I can give you multiple choice.
Okay.
Okay. So was it A? Hold on, I gotta think of this off the top. Was it A, Paul Rubens? Oh god, that's funny. A, Paul Rubens.
Yes,
B,
that's it. I'm gonna. I know it's wrong, but I'm going with Paul Rubens.
I love Pee Wee's Big Adventure. That's a great movie. B, Tom Selleck, or C, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Uh, oh, it had Tom Selleck. Had to be Tom Selleck.
Yep, Tom Selleck.
Was it? Yeah.
Yep. As a matter of fact, he would have had it, but at the same time, he was under contract for Magnum PI, so he wasn't able to do it. Yes,
Oh, and probably couldn't shave the mustache either.
that's right. Cool. But yeah, thank you for participating in that, man.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so final question: how did the
Okay.
year of 2020 change you as a person?
2020. Oh my gosh. Um. Well, it let me know. Um. And I'm okay saying this now because at first I thought, you know what, I might be like ashamed to say it, but it opened my eyes to the racial inequality that was actually going on
Yeah.
in the country. I don't even know. I learned a lot. I
Mm.
opened up my eyes. I listened a ton. Um, hearing hearing all kinds of stories um, from black and brown and all sorts of people of color because as a white male who's middle aged, I have a ton of privilege and a ton of just convenience that's thrown at me that I don't even realize. And
Mm.
so to hear story after story, and when it became more and more prevalent, and it's not that I didn't hear these before, but I was paying more attention to it. And I think I was finally in like, duh, oh my gosh. Um, and so to gain a great amount of empathy, and while I can never put myself in the shoes of somebody that experiences what they've been experiencing, I can understand it a little bit more. And I'm not trying to say like, oh yes, no, I totally get it, because that's not it at all. But it allowed me to see differently. And so
Yeah.
now, like get righteously pissed off when I see injustice, especially when it relates to race or to just societal standing, anything like that. That I was thought I was an ally within before, but I really
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. I was just kind of a bystander. You know what I mean? Which I think is
Yeah.
probably even worse at that point, because I was just standing around doing nothing. Um, and so for me, and I don't know where you stand on the term. For me, I'm woke. And I use that as a positive term, not as the insult that it has become by a lot of people, because I use it as I woke up.
Yeah.
My eyes were awakened to the experience of other people that I was not in tune with before, and I am not nearly as far along in the journey of understanding that I need to be, working on it, trying to hear better, hear things like that. And so that being at home for quarantine, um and seeing just what was going on in the world around, and not having other distractions, like having to go to work. I was doing my work at home.
Right.
It allowed me to really like hyper focus into certain things, and it also caused discussion within our house, and so that was awesome also. My
Yeah.
wife, I mean, she came along faster than I did, and so her being able to help me in that journey, and then having conversations with people. And so that um yeah, I've 2020 was huge for me. I mean, it
Yeah.
improved, I think, who I am as a person, because I am now more cognizant of what other people are experiencing and what they're feeling, and how they're being treated,
Yeah.
and the injustices and the inequity that is there. And then being able to hear that, and then how can I make a difference? How can I change? How can I then call out people who are causing the inequity, or just the absolute downright racist bigot idiots that I
Yeah.
which would get me banned on several social platforms for saying all of my true thoughts about them or what I would like to do to them. But
Right.
yeah, the, I hope that I hope you hear my heart in what I'm saying, because I'm not
I
sure I'm
do.
actually saying it the best way, but yeah,
And
I
I
do.
just appreciate you just being transparent about that, because a lot of people wouldn't be. And for me, especially that year specifically, I was woke too, because I was like, life is short, because like people are out there, they're dying, and I was, I had to go out there and still do both of my jobs, you know what I'm saying? So it was really scary. And I
Yeah.
really, a big reason why I created the podcast is because I realized, hey, look, life is short. God put me here just not to work and die. So I might as well do something creative. So yeah. How can people reach you?
Um, Mainly YouTube. That's the best place to find me, at Movies and Munchies. Um, I am on Twitter and Facebook. I suck at both of those for the most part. I mean, I try to be better, but I can't. So YouTube is the
It's
best
hard.
way. I will respond eventually on both Facebook and Twitter. It's just I'm not always on there, and so I don't want people to think that I'm like I'm ghosting you or anything else. I mean, I love interacting with people on the comments within YouTube. And so that's, to have discussions, even if it's not about movies. I mean, people ask me weird questions sometimes, and I was like, okay, whatever. If I have an answer for you, I'll give it to you, and if you can make me laugh, that absolutely guarantees that I'm going to interact with you, because if it's so off the wall or bizarre, but it's not mean spirited, I don't like that. I don't like engaging in mean spirited stuff. So that's fine. But if you can make me laugh, if it's something weird or wonky, then yeah, absolutely, that's the best way to do it.
Hey
So
man, hey man, like I said, I really, really do appreciate your time. You taking the time to do this today. This whole podcast about giving a person their flowers. That's why I call it the special delivery show. So I want to give you your flowers and say, man, keep on doing what you're doing, putting out great content, great reviews. Because I discover a lot of stuff through your reviews, things that I've never heard of. So I really appreciate it, man, and keep on doing what you're doing.
well, I appreciate that. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for your time. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely, thank you. I really appreciate being able to be on here and just chatting with you. It's been awesome.
Absolutely, man. You have a great day. All right.
You too. Thank you.
All right. See you.
Take care.
All right.